Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you all this morning. This morning's Wednesday Wisdom Circle, I was perusing some of my books and I pulled out an old one by Wayne Dyer. And I really was just thinking about Dr. Wayne Dyer's teachings. He was a very impactful, profound teacher of the power of our minds and the power that we have to manifest. And I wanted to share some of his teaching with you all this morning in the context of, as I always do, sort of sharing what's opening for me in my life, and hopefully it has some resonance for you. So as some of you know who were here on the Wisdom Circle a few weeks ago, my husband decided to end our marriage, and it was quite sudden and shocking to me, and it was painful. I felt as though it was just happening to me and out of left field, and like someone pulled the rug out from under me, like I was powerless. And it was like my life had just been altered in a way that I had not planned for, and I had a full stop. And I know that separation and divorce are almost always painful. Pain is inevitable. But what I also know is that suffering is optional. And I was adding more suffering than I needed to. I was suffering not just because of the pain of the situation, but because I was wishing it hadn't happened. I kept mentally fighting against the reality at first and wanting things to be different. But then, I've been in this work for so long, it can't help but get some traction at some point. And I remembered something fundamental. And it's that I had created my own perception of my marriage. For years, I chose to focus on what was good. And there were things that weren't good, probably red flags, I would even say. But I spoke it into reality. I spoke into reality the love and the gratitude and the connection that I wanted to see. And because my attention was placed there, those things expanded for me. That was the reality of my marriage. For me, that was my experience, and it was beautiful. But perception works in both directions. And though my husband had had that perception for a long time, who knows what he's going through. But while I was focusing on the good, I observed him shifting his focus onto the things he didn't want. There was just a marked shift, and I can see it looking back. And just as gratitude expanded the good, his focus on what wasn't working for him expanded his discontent. And until that became a reality for him. And when I really saw that truth, I had a lot of clarity. It was a breakthrough in my perception. So instead of asking, why is this happening? I thought, okay, well, how is it happening for me? And suddenly I saw a whole bunch of truths that I hadn't let myself see. And not in a bad way, just like everything looked, and I thought, oh, I can look at all those things now that I chose not to put my attention on. And I really suddenly saw how this was happening for me, that the next evolution for me couldn't happen with this person. And I realized I had the freedom to ask myself a new question. Like, what do I really want? What do I value most at this stage of my life? And that question opened me up to a new sense of gratitude because I wasn't stuck or powerless. I was standing in this rare, beautiful moment of reinvention where I get to like create a life that reflects who I am today instead of who I was 19 years ago. And I thought, what a privilege that is, that I get to really stand and decide with total autonomy and total sovereignty. What do I want to do, be, create at this next stage of my life? So if we think of the mind in Dr. Dyer's kind of terms as a window that you look through, if you focus on smudges on the glass, the regrets and the disappointments and the imperfections, then that's all you'll see. But if you shift your focus outward, you might notice the landscape of possibility beyond the glass. the open sky, the paths ahead, the light. The smudges didn't disappear, but you stopped fixating on them. Now, imagine instead of a window, you're looking into a mirror. If you hold a belief that you're stuck or powerless or defeated, the mirror simply reflects that back. But if you shift your inner perception, if you begin to see yourself as resilient, evolving, and open to new possibilities, then that reflection changes too. What you see is always a direct result of where you choose to put your focus. So I like this story. I've heard this before. I can't remember if I think it was my grandpa that told it to me. And something like this, that someone was walking by a construction site and they saw two bricklayers. And the first one, when you ask, what are you doing? The first one says, I'm laying bricks one after another. It's exhausting. You don't want to do this job, man. And then the second bricklayer, you ask him the same question and he wipes his brow and smiles and says, I'm building a cathedral. Same work, same bricks, but a completely different experience. And where one sees drudgery, another sees purpose. So there's a really beautiful question, I think, that we could ask, like, where in your life are you laying bricks instead of building a cathedral? You know, where are you laying, but where are you saying it's so hard and all of that? And like, could you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the bigger purpose? And how would shifting your perspective change that experience? Um, Wayne Dyer often spoke about perception as like glasses. He said, we don't see life as it is, we see it as we are. And he said it's basically like we put a pair of glasses on with smudged lenses, and everything appears blurry and frustrating and distorted. But instead of cleaning the lenses, you start to believe that that's what the world is. Right. So the world is a fearful place. The world is falling apart. The world is terrible. All of that. That's just a lens that you look through. And if the lens represents your beliefs and fears and your past conditioning, you can take the lens off and look at things as they truly are. So, one of the exercises that Wayne Dyer is famous for is the 180-degree turnaround. And he talks about asking this question: what if the exact opposite of what I believe is also true? Now, I like the word also because it's not negating the other thing that you believe. That thing might be part of the perception, part of the reality for you. But what if the exact opposite was also true? So, for instance, if you believe I don't have enough time, what if the opposite, I have exactly the time I need for what matters most, was also true? If you think this person is against me, what if the opposite of that is also true? They're acting from their own wounds and it's not personal. When we frame things from a perspective of possibility, some might say that that's delusional or wishful thinking, but the reality is all of us are creating our experiences through the lens that we're looking at. So why wouldn't we tend to the lens? If we want a better experience, clean the smudges off your glasses. So I have a couple of questions for you to think about this week before we get into meditation. And firstly, like, what's one belief or perception that you're willing to challenge this week? And I encourage you to think about it in terms of a place where you feel stuck or you've had a complaint, like a chronic complaint about someone or something. And then how can you remind yourself to clean the lens when you feel stuck? Maybe you have a trigger that, so when you're complaining about something not right in your life, that it guides you back to ask the question, how could the opposite be equally as true. And where in your life do you want to replace bricklaying with cathedral building? Isn't that great? I love that. I love metaphors. It just gives you such an expansive feeling. So, you've probably heard life's not happening to you, it's happening for you. But Wayne Dyer was more specific. He said, life's not happening to us, it's responding to us. Life is responding to us based on how we see it. It will give us back that reflection. And so the next layer of this is, if you are in a state of unhappiness and you look around and you have blame for others, know that whatever it is you're projecting out there, there's something in you that's a reflection of. If you think the world is fearful, then there's fear in you. If you think that the world is negative, there's negativity in you. And the beautiful thing is you can let go of those things. And when you let it go, then the world as you see it changes. Barron always says, don't worry about what's going on in the White House, worry about what's going on in your house. If you want to change the world, get at peace with your own heart, do the work inside. Okay. Let's meditate this morning. So, just sit up really nice and tall, and if you like, you can close your eyes. You can lay down if you're in bed and lay down, but just be comfortable. And take a really long breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth. Another breath just like that. Fill up completely. Empty out totally. And then let your breath settle into a rhythm. And watch the inhales and the exhales like waves lapping up on the shore. A constant rhythm. Notice your feet, your ankles, your shins, your calves, your kneecaps, and the spaces behind your knees. Move your awareness to your thighs and your pelvis, your torso. Perhaps you notice your ribs flaring in and out with each breath. Notice your collarbones, your shoulder blades, the tops of your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, the palms of your hands, and the tips of your fingers. Bring your awareness to the hollow at the base of your throat. Notice your jaw, your lips, your tongue, your teeth, the rims of your nostrils, your ears, your eyes in their sockets, and the crown of your head. And just become aware of your body as a space from which you experience life, a place from which you see life, where you create the lenses that inform your experience. Imagine standing in front of a large, still lake. The water reflects the sky perfectly, like a mirror. And this lake represents your mind, calm, open, and receptive. In your hands, you hold a pair of old, dusty glasses. And these glasses represent your habitual ways of seeing the world, your past experiences, fears, and assumptions. Notice what they feel like in your hands: heavy, worn, familiar. And put the glasses on and look out at the world. Notice how you suddenly see the lake in a different light. Perhaps you experience fear. You inform the view of the lake with assumptions. Now gently take the glasses off and feel the relief as you place them down beside you. As you do, you notice something miraculous. The world around you becomes clearer, brighter, more vibrant. You see colors and details that were hidden before. Now bring to mind a challenge in your life that has been difficult or frustrating for you. Visualize it in front of you, but this time without the old glasses. You see it differently. Maybe there's an opportunity you hadn't noticed before. What if the opposite of what you believed is also true? Maybe there's kindness where you expected resistance, or possibility where you only saw limitation. What do you see now that you couldn't see before? Just allow yourself to fully take in this new perspective. And gently bring your attention back to your breath and anchor your attention there. As thoughts arise, and they are innocent, let the thoughts move by as though you are the sky and they are the weather. You, as the observer, remain clear. Now start to bring your attention back to your body. Let your awareness touch the crown of your head, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your lips, your tongue, your teeth, the center of your chest, the space between your shoulder blades, the tops of your hips, the backs of your thighs, the front of your shins, the soles of your feet, your hands in your lap. And start to deepen your breath, bringing your breath fully into your body now. And I invite you to call gratitude into the space that is you. Let the lens that you look through today be one of gratitude and possibility. And gently open your eyes. In A Course in Miracles, it says that the definition of a miracle is a shift in perception. And we are miracle makers when we shift our perception. What an awesome power that is. It's like quite incredible. The awesome power to shift our perception. I would love to open it up to anyone who wants to share this morning.